Tantor Audio presents The Practice, Simple Tools for Managing Stress, Finding Inner Peace, and Uncovering Happiness, by Barb Schmidt. Narrated by Tracy Brunjes. A thought which is well guarded by a controlled mind brings happiness. B.K.S. Iyengar. Preface. People are just as happy as they make up their minds to be. When I heard this quote by Abraham Lincoln, I was in grade school. I could not understand what my mind had to do with being happy, but I really wanted to know. To me, happy meant having all the things I read about in the fairy tales and had seen in the movies. It also meant having a close, unshakable connection with God. I desperately wanted to be happy, but I just wasn't. I began searching for happiness everywhere. That was a long time ago. Today, my life's quest is about being happy, whole, loving, and loved, and to spread the message that we are all capable of living a magnificent, purposeful, and happy life by tapping into the inner peace and strength we have within us every day. In my nearly 10 years of giving workshops and seminars on the topic of peace, I've been helping people understand that our minds are at the root of our unhappiness, as Abraham Lincoln suggested. If we can learn to train our minds, we can be happy. When we know the deep happiness that comes from within, we can better manage the daily stresses in our lives and live a calmer, more present existence. I'm not a clinical expert, a guru, or a mental health professional. I'm a self-taught spiritual teacher who has spent her life training with many of the great modern-day teachers, as well as studying the texts of many of the incredible masters, mystics, and saints of the past. I have taken all that I have learned and practiced for nearly 30 years and developed a daily spiritual routine I call the practice. The truths I talk about with regard to the practice are not new. They're a compilation of the truths and wisdom from many of the great religions and teachings. I have simply structured all of this into an easy-to-implement daily routine that can bring peace, meaning, and happiness to anyone's life. Through my workshops, website, and now this book, I share the practice with many different types of people. Those who have never meditated or followed spiritual disciplines but feel the pull toward leading a more meaningful, happier life. Those who have been asking themselves, what is my purpose and why am I here? Those who have a meditation practice and lead a present life but are looking for tools to add structure and mindfulness throughout the day. And those who already have a serious practice but find some of the practical suggestions in the practice helpful in furthering them along their path. Whatever category you fall into, my wish for you is that you find this book useful in a way that speaks to you. But who am I? How did I become the happy and confident person I am today? My quest for peace and happiness began as far back as I can remember. As a child, I believed there had to be more to life than what I had, that there was something I had to find or do or be. I often found myself wondering, should I be a nun or a queen? Which will make me happier? Of course, I didn't end up being either of those things. It was more about what they represented to me, a spiritual life versus a material life. I struggled with the thought that I could have only one or the other. I was the oldest of 5 children in a low-income Catholic family with parents who struggled with many challenges, including alcoholism. As a result, I felt responsible from very early on. I strove for perfection in everything I did, at school, in the family, in church, and at work. I found myself trying to keep very busy and to be the best at everything. I believed this would make me happy and that my life would be perfect. But we all know there is no such thing as perfection, so I ended up feeling less than, alone, and unloved, always on the outside, looking in. Among the 4 jobs I had in high school, Working at McDonald's was my favorite. I made many friends, the people in management liked me and valued my hard work, and I felt appreciated and needed. I took great pride in my role as a McDonald's employee, and in fact, my self-worth was vested in that job. So when I was offered a manager's position following my high school graduation, I accepted without thinking twice, in lieu of college, much to my parents' displeasure. Within 5 years, I owned my first McDonald's franchise, which was made possible by a business facilities lease program that McDonald's Corporation offered to employees whom they recognized as having the high standards and values necessary to be successful, but lacking the capital. In the years that followed, I put every bit of my effort into creating an incredible career. According to our society's measurements, I had achieved all the external things I could possibly want. 6 franchises, a handsome husband, a social life, money, and an attractive appearance, too. However, despite my obvious outward success, I did not feel happy. Most of the time, I felt incomplete. Is this what happiness is? I wondered. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I would fall asleep at night feeling empty and alone. My husband at the time said to me one day, "You have everything. Is there anything that will make you happy?" This remark made me even sadder. What was wrong with me? One October morning in 1984, I read an article in the paper that talked about Karen Carpenter's battle with anorexia, which he had lost on February 4th, 1983. I listened to the music of the Carpenters, a duo with her brother Richard, all the time in high school, so I had been deeply saddened when she died a year earlier. But oddly enough, the cause of her death did not register with me at the time. Now, more than a year later, reading about how she had lost her battle with this eating disorder, a subject that was rarely, if ever, covered by the media, shook me to my core. As I read on, it dawned on me that I too had an eating disorder. Mine was bulimia. I started to cry, and a voice inside me said, "You must get help." The voice was so strong, loud, and firm, so I felt moved to listen. The very next day, I checked myself into a treatment center. From the moment I arrived for my 6-week stay, I felt safe, accepted, and loved. I started to take great comfort in sharing my thoughts and feelings in individual and group therapy. I had a beautiful sense that I was not alone, and I connected with people from all walks of life. I had a fabulous roommate. We bonded instantly and remain close today. The treatment center introduced me to the 12 steps, for which I will always be grateful for my recovery. With each week that passed, I found even greater strength and wisdom in the support I was receiving. It was there that I became immersed in inspirational reading and spiritual instruction, finding comfort, hope, and strength in the teachings. By the end of my stay, I had an incredible desire to live a more spiritual, more meaningful life. I left the treatment center happy and excited about my life and its potential to evolve. Not too long after my recovery, on November 4th, 1985, I gave birth to my beautiful daughter, Michelle. Becoming a mother unearthed in me many feelings, but the greatest was a deep understanding of the true meaning of selfless service and love. Motherhood is such an amazing gift. I instantly felt more patient and more loving, and my inner voice urged me to start looking for a way to be of further service and give back to the world. So, in 1988, I co-founded Ronald McDonald Children's Charities of South Florida and remained its president until 1996, the same year I sold my McDonald's franchises. During my years as president, I continued seeking spiritual inspiration and found it from teachers such as Scott Peck and his book, The Road Less Traveled. Deepak Chopra and his book Ageless Body, Timeless Mind, and Marianne Williamson and her book A Return to Love. I went on several retreats with these inspiring teachers and found great support for living the life I wanted to live. Moving on from my association with McDonald's marked a major transition for me. I knew that it signified a new chapter in my life. I felt sad, nostalgic really, but very excited about what would be next. I felt it was time for me to find my life's passion and to be of service. My voice within said, "You are ready. Find what you have come here to do and do it." Having made inspirational reading a regular part of my life, I came across the book Living Buddha, Living Christ by Thich Nhat Hanh. The title intrigued me. I was raised Catholic and was now hungry for learning about all religions and everything spiritual. In the book, I was introduced to the concept that meditation and mindfulness could lead me to a deeper connection with God. The message touched my heart deeply. I went on 2 retreats with Thich Nhat Hanh, which paved the way for my serious search for a spiritual teacher to guide me to the life I longed to live. As a result of my experiences at these retreats and others, I became a vegetarian for spiritual reasons and remain so to this day. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, written in the 2nd century BC, became a major focus of my studies, along with Jesus, the Buddha, Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, St. Francis of Assisi, Rumi, St. Teresa of Avila, and Gandhi. Patanjali is one of my most influential teachers. My modern-day teachers have included Scott Peck, Thomas Merton, Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson, Thich Nhat Hanh, Eknath Easwaran, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Pema Chodron, Jetsuma Tenzin Palmo, Caroline Myss, James Finley, and now most recently, Gabrielle Bernstein. Since 1985, I have been on more than 100 retreats with these teachers. What I realize now, and really knew back then, is that I was not just looking for inspiration from a teacher. I was looking for somebody to tell me what to do, show me the answer, and lead the way. In 1998, I thought I had found the answer to living a deeply grounded spiritual life in a well-respected but very rigid meditation community that followed the teachings of one particular spiritual teacher. I followed that path for 10 years, devoting my time and finances to the organization's well-being. After a time, I began to feel stifled by the rigidness of the organization and my feelings of separation. Following a series of disheartening events, my voice within said, "It is time for you to move on." Leaving this community, which had become the center of my life for so many years, was difficult. Gratefully, I had accumulated such a wealth of spiritual inspiration and discipline that when faced with the question of what was next, the answer came to me easily one morning in my meditation through the words of Swami Vivekananda. "You have to grow from the inside out. No one can teach you. No one can make you spiritual. There is no other teacher but your own soul." I came out of meditation that morning feeling ready to be a teacher while continuing to be a student. Yogi Bhajan's words took on new life. "I came here to create teachers." I felt confident and wildly alive, knowing that I could move forward in my spiritual journey, turning within to my beloved, my inner guide. I had changed myself. I was now a happy, confident, and strong person, and it was now my duty and responsibility to be a light and begin the work of helping to change the world. As Mahatma Gandhi says so magnificently, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." As a result of my 50-plus years in life, I have found a way of living my everyday life that brings me a deep sense of happiness, security, love, confidence, and peace. A deep, unshakable connectedness to my beloved. I know I can handle all the ups and downs of life, lead a happy and fulfilling life, and ultimately leave this world better than when I arrived. When someone asked me recently during one of my talks, "Barb, what do you define as being happy?" I remembered a time when I did not know what it meant to be happy. But now I smiled because the answer came effortlessly. For me, happiness is knowing that I am strong, capable, confident, secure, loving, and compassionate. It is knowing that within me is everything I need to handle whatever life sends my way, and that not only will I be okay, I will thrive. Today, I am a teacher and a seeker of knowledge, inspiration, truth, and ultimately, the unity of all beings. I know at a deep level what all the great saints, masters, and mystics know. I must become my own teacher to live my life authentically, confidently, and mindfully. This knowing within me is the support and happiness I had been looking for all those years. While this book will teach you how to incorporate the practice into your own life, I share this information with you so that you can experience that your greatest teacher is within you. Discover this truth, and you will change yourself. In every workshop I give, I always say that we are incredible human beings. I know that each of us is truly meant to do extraordinary things with our lives, even when those things may seem ordinary. The practice helps us develop the discipline to go within each day and to be present to the ordinary moments of our day. When we do this regularly, we begin to understand that we hold the key to our own peaceful mind. It is our peaceful mind that leads to a happy and peaceful life, and ultimately to a beautiful, loving, more peaceful world. It is my deep desire today that all beings know how amazing they are and find wholeness, love, and peace in their lives. Be happy. Introduction. Our mind, with its incessant stream of thoughts, memories, opinions, hopes, and fears, is our constant companion, from which we cannot escape even in our dreams. So it makes sense to cultivate a worthy travel companion for our journey. Jetsuma Tenzin Palmo. When I listened to Tenzin Palmo talk about the mind on a retreat in 2010, I completely understood what she meant about our mind being our closest companion. It is always with us. I also remember thinking that this companion of ours can often sound like an annoying broken record, harping on the same old complaints and concerns. Listening to all the mind's judgments, worries, planning, memories, and fantasies is stressful and drains our energy, interferes with our ability to be present, and keeps us focused on outward things that are supposed to make us feel happy. When we are so focused on what is going on in our minds, we are not able to function at our highest level or fully appreciate our blessings. We look at the state of the world and all its problems, all our problems, and we question how we can be happy with all that is going on. We wonder about the injustice of it all and often lose patience with others and ourselves for not being able to make things right and just be happy. Living this way can cause us a great deal of suffering and a lot of stress. So we look for distractions, outward things, to make us feel better. In our society, there is no shortage of them. The media bombards us with flashy images and false promises. These external influences somehow sink their hooks into our hearts and convince us that we need them to find the happiness and fulfillment we are longing for. From very early on, we have been taught by society that if we get this and achieve that, life will be great and we will be happy. But no matter how much we accumulate or use to make us feel better or forget, we still feel as if something is missing. Things cannot make us happy. And even though we know this deep down, we still hope that maybe this one more thing will be the thing that will do it for us. Here is the good news. The potential to be happy is right inside of us. There is nothing we need to find and then figure out how to get. Nothing we seek on the outside can compare to that. We might think we have found something or someone who completes us, that gives us the wholeness we are in search of. But we all know from experience that feelings based on changing circumstances do not last. People age and die. Situations end. Tragedy strikes. Natural disasters occur. Things get used up or are no longer useful, and the list goes on and on. However, in reality, what never changes is within each of us, and this is the part that makes us whole. Carl Jung wrote, "Your vision will become clear when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." When our hearts awaken to this truth, we can all say with deep sincerity and knowing, "I am complete." When we live from within, we will know peace and happiness. The daily stresses of life will be more manageable, and our days will be more fulfilling. When I heard the Dalai Lama speak at Florida Atlantic University as part of the Peace Studies program in 2010, he repeated a sentiment that he often shares. Life is meant to be happy. We are meant to be happy. Our minds con us into wondering what that means. Are we happy? Why aren't we happy? We think it is a feeling we sometimes have. How do you feel? Someone asks, and the other person replies, Well, I was happy yesterday, but today I'm not so happy because this happened to me. It was so stressful. That sort of happiness is like riding a roller coaster, fleeting at best. When the great masters and teachers talk about happiness, they are talking about that underlying sense of joy, peace, and security that we will find inward when we seek it through stillness and by being present to the moments of our lives. This place of stillness is within each one of us, and we can tap into it by having a spiritual practice that quiets the mind, not to get rid of it, but to enrich and nourish it and teach it to listen inwardly. The word that comes out of listening changes hearts, says my friend James Finley, a Thomas Merton scholar. This is a profound truth. Change happens within. The idea is to cultivate our minds the way we would a garden, by planting the plants we want, tending to them regularly, and keeping the ground fertile. When we do this daily, we start to align our mind, body, and heart so that each part of us works together in unity with a beautiful rhythm. This is what the practice helps us do. We are like a magnificent tree with an incredible root system. Even though we cannot see what is going on underground, we know that the root system is vital to the tree's ability to thrive. The roots are its strength, its foundation, and what gives the tree its nourishment. And the same is true for us. Even if we cannot see it, our strength and nurturing is there inside us, providing us with everything we need to thrive. The practice. The practice, as taught in this book, is a set of practical tools that can be used throughout the day to guide us along our life's path. It is a compilation of the great truths taught by authentic teachers and masters throughout the centuries from various religious and spiritual traditions. The practice creates the following three-part framework around which to live our magnificent lives. 1. Waking up, meditation. 2. Living present, sacred mantra, focused attention, and reading for inspiration. 3. Letting go, reflection. Simply stated, these tools are meant to help us cultivate a peaceful mind so that we can lead the happy, loving, mindful, purposeful lives we are looking to have, the magnificent lives we are meant to live. They provide us with structure in our day so that we can take the necessary time to go within and bring our mind, body, and heart into alignment and ground ourselves. When we go inward, we cultivate the beautiful qualities of acceptance, gratitude, patience, compassion, strength, and courage. These are the talents that help us deal with the difficulties in our lives and help break down the obstacles that hold us back from tapping into our source of love, peace, and happiness. Why did I call this daily routine the practice? Martha Graham defines the word practice beautifully. Practice means to perform over and over again in the face of all obstacles, some act of vision, of faith, of desire. Cultivating our minds, reining in the thoughts that interfere with our happiness and inner peace, takes practice. The key words in Graham's definition are over and over again. This means we need to do something consistently to be able to enjoy the benefits. This is not something we do until we get it right, and then everything will be perfect. No, the practice is not a panacea or a quick fix. We know life is not perfect, and that expecting it to be that way is a big obstacle to inner peace. It is the journey, not the destination, it has been said. So to remain on that path, we must perform over and over again in the face of all obstacles. The practice is not a religion. It can be a complement to any religious or spiritual practice, or it can stand entirely on its own. People who are looking to deepen their connection to their innermost selves can incorporate the practice into their daily lives. There's no need to have meditated previously to start enjoying the benefits of this spiritual discipline. Likewise, those who already engage in meditation and other spiritual pursuits may find the framework I offer more helpful for structuring their day in such a way that there is always time for looking within to regain balance and clarity. We do not have to go any place special to do the practice, and we certainly do not have to live in seclusion to lead a spiritual and happy life. We have everything we need right where we are to live a life with depth, meaning, and spirit. The practice helps us look at the world and ourselves differently, allowing us to live life from a fresh vantage point. We learn how to tap into our inner guide, our source, to connect with God of our understanding. From the 11th step of Alcoholics Anonymous, God as we understood him. By going within, we align our mind, body, and heart. But we do this with awareness that we are not perfect. Life is not perfect. Although we cannot expect to stay in alignment all day long, we do know how we feel when our spirit, our essence, radiates love and confidence. That is the beauty of the practice. When we recognize that we are coming out of alignment and stress is getting the best of us, we can take a few deep breaths to bring ourselves back to center. I like to call this checking in with ourselves. We are human, so we will go off track. The question is, how quickly do we recover and get back into alignment? Some days it may take minutes.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?